Welcome back to Hype Deceased News, the luxury and streetwear weekly news show where we put the hype to bed, and I think we've got to just dive right in because we've got some wild stories today. Yo, before we get too much further, subscribe to the channel. I make tons of luxury and streetwear content, and also, if you're looking for deals on luxury and streetwear, check the description. I've got some of the best sites with all authentic stuff. Check it out. First up, we've got to talk about this ridiculous Chanel advent calendar. Now, I'm sure you've all seen advent calendars. You probably got them when you were a kid. They had little chocolates in them, and you would eat them, and they'd melt in your mouth, and you'd be like, I love Christmas so much. And now you're an adult, and it just snows, and you're like, I need to get to work, but there's snow in my car, and I got to spend an extra 10 minutes de-icing the dang thing. But no, advent calendars, they're pretty fun, they're pretty cool, but they're not as cool when they cost $825, which is how much this Chanel advent calendar cost. And this thing, for $825, you'd expect this to be a pretty sweet calendar, right? Like, I mean, for $825, you could probably get like a pretty sweet dirt bike and do like wheelies and stuff like that. That's a good use of $825, but $825 for like a tiny jewelry dust bag doesn't seem as valuable. And I'm not lying, that was one of the items in this advent calendar. Besides that, you had like little charms. They look like they were, a lot of them made of plastic, and I'm pretty sure most of these were like VIP gifts. Like these were the things that they would send to Timothée Chalamet, and he would get them and be like, what the hell is this? And he would throw them in the trash. And then Chanel, they were probably just picking them up out of the trash and be like, we got to do something with these. Let's stick them in the advent calendar. So it's a way to get rid of just a bunch of dumpster garbage crap that was sitting in their warehouses that they just wanted to clear out space of. And this is like my least favorite type of thing. Like sometimes companies do this with, they call them mystery boxes, but it's really just a way to get rid of product that nobody wanted in the first place. And Chanel is just really doing that here once again. So I think it goes without saying, definitely don't buy this one, but really be a bit, a bit skeptical of any luxury brands like mystery boxy items, because a lot of the time, like, they usually don't have trouble selling stuff. If they're sticking it in a mystery box, there's a reason that they do not want you to see it. So yeah, this is a bad look. Our next story is Balenciaga, just like Balenciaga in general, because they've got a lot of good news. Like, they just released a new collection, and it had like a VHS, like memories vibe. There was a lot of black going on, even more than usual, even to like a Rick Owens, like darkness level. And even it had like some cut and sew vibes that really reminded me a lot of Rick in general, which is, I'm totally fine with. Those are my two favorite brands, so good on them. A lot of these designs looked like they were really, really leaning in to the Kim and Kanye vibe. Like, you see them out there in Balenciaga all the time, especially in this really oversized dark, or in Kim's case, really form-fitting stuff. And a lot of these pieces looked tailor-made to just end up on Kim or Kanye. Like, it looks like Demna was literally just going for that directly. Oh, and side note, as part of this show, they released a press release saying that Demna, he only wants to be called Demna now. No more Visalia. His last name, he's out. Okay, he's Prince, he's Ye, he's Madonna, he's Demna. Okay, single name only. Another really cool part of this is that a lot of the collection, like almost 90% of it, was made out of sustainable materials. And at first when I saw that, I was like, there's a lot of leather in there though. Like, is leather really that sustainable? But then it turned out, I read that it's upcycled leather. So Demna really going hard into the sustainable, environmentally friendly end of things, which we love to see. And finally, our last little bit of Balenciaga news here is this week they released their Trooper boots, which are $650 crazy square toe rubber boots. And like $650 for some like Yeezy TPU rubber foam style stuff, it seems really excessive, right? But then they look really, really cool. Like, my finger's on the trigger here. It's pulling out the credit card, okay? It's almost ready to pay $650 for a pair of rubber boots. Just someone save me, please. Our third story for the week is that Cardi B, the rapper, has been named the first ever creative director for Playboy. Yes, that Playboy. And here's the thing. I totally get this, or I get why they're hiring a creative director, because Playboy as a fashion line has always had crazy amounts of like untapped potential. They've had some like hype collabs and they looked really cool. They seemingly did really well. And it shows that there's a lot of demand there, but otherwise there has been nothing on that front. But I could really see Playboy being like the next Stussy or even Supreme. Like, going back into the Playboy archives, think of how much stuff there is there that is totally untapped right now that Cardi B or somebody else, right, could dig in and bring out and turn into great merch. Because it's not going to be fashion, right? It's going to be merch. It's there as a line of revenue. It's not to push fashion forward. So along those lines, is Cardi B the right fit to be creative director here? I mean, as far as I know, she has no design background, but maybe that's not what they're looking for. Because here's the thing, she definitely knows a lot about influence, and she knows a lot about hype. And that is probably much more along the lines of what Playboy is looking for here. Like I said, they're not looking to be the next like Christian Dior here, like pushing fashion forward with new silhouettes. They're just looking to create hype items that are gonna sell. And I bet Cardi B will be able to know how to do that. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what comes out of this. And our final story for the week is a bit of a darker one. Travis Scott has denied any culpability for the Astro World Fest tragedy. And this was specifically in one of the lawsuits. Like he said through his lawyers, of course, in a filing, hey, I had nothing to do with this. This was not my fault. I'm not taking any responsibility. And like, I get it. He really had no other choice. He needed to deny any culpability for legal reasons. Of course he did. If he admits any guilt here in this lawsuit, you may not know this, that can be used in all the other lawsuits. They'll just point to that and say, hey, in this lawsuit, he said it was his fault or whatever. So, and there's like $10 billion lawsuits that people have filed here, okay? So if he admits guilt here, he is done. He will never have another dollar in his bank account for the rest of his life. So I get it. But of course, it was a tragedy. It was horrific. So him denying any involvement is still a bad look from a PR perspective, right? Like, he is really between a rock and a hard place here. He's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't, right? For legal reasons, he has to say he didn't have anything to do with it, but it's going to make him look terrible. But like, between a rock and a hard place is really where he deserves to be. Because I do think he deserves some blame for this. So if he's not going to go to jail or something, which I'm sure he's not, he's just not. At the very least, he deserves to take a little bit of heat in these lawsuits. So Travis, you're kind of getting what's coming to you here. So that was Hype Deceased News. Take a look at the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.